A Palestinian official not associated with Hamas nonetheless defended Hamas's actions, casting blame on Israel for creating conditions that he said led to the Hamas and Islamic Jihad murder, rape, kidnapping, torturing spree. Regarding the babies, old women, children, and other civilian hostages taken to Gaza, the official compared that to the 5,000 plus Palestinian Arab prisoners held in Israeli jails and prisons. The person that interviewed the official from a so-called progressive-leaning radio station showed the leanings of that media outlet, namely, do not challenge those considered victims or downtrodden. The interviewer failed to mention that the prisoners in Israeli jails and prisons were being held or were already convicted of terrorist or criminal acts, as opposed to the innocent civilians snatched from their homes, a music festival, and elsewhere for no reason whatsoever other than being of the wrong religion. This is not a defense of the Israeli criminal justice system, which probably needs reform and change, as do most criminal justice systems. But there's a world of difference between arresting terrorists and criminals and snatching innocent people from their homes and elsewhere because they are Jews, after murdering their friends and families, to be held as human bargaining chips if they survive the rape, torture, and abuse Hamas and Islamic Jihad subject them to. Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and all their supporters, along with the many other similarly violent, demented terrorist organizations on the planet, in this world, make no distinction between civilians and soldiers. In war, enemy soldiers can be taken as prisoners. There are international laws and rules as to how enemy soldiers are to be treated. They are not to be tortured, beaten, starved, or abused. Soldiers held by any of these terrorist organizations or nations like Iran, which openly support terror, especially against Israeli Jews, do not abide by international laws. Their morality is rooted in murder, rape, and torture, which they actually believe is sanctioned by God. Taking civilians hostage, kidnapping civilians, holding civilians as prisoners is never legitimate. It is never defendable, no matter how much the Palestinian Arab official and others try to defend the indefensible through whataboutism. Whataboutism has become one of the primary arguments used to justify terror against the Jews of Israel. As written and said many times before on this platform, no grievance or injustice from the past or present ever justifies deliberately harming unarmed civilians, women, old people, babies, children, defenseless people. Hamas and Islamic Jihad murder, rape, torture, and kidnap civilians. Now they are hiding in Gaza, using Gazan civilians as hostages and shields. They are also using the prisoners that they abducted, the so-called prisoners, the innocent civilians that they abducted as shields. Whatever happens to the civilians of Gaza rests on the shoulders of Hamas and Islamic Jihad. It is unacceptable to go out and murder, rape, torture, kidnap, and take hostage the civilians of the enemy and then expect no response by hiding behind their own civilians. Hamas and Islamic Jihad want mass civilian casualties of Gazans because they use it as propaganda against Israel. Tragically, Israel's hand is forced. If Hamas and Islamic Jihad are not defeated militarily and removed from power, they will simply go back to indoctrinating entire new generations of Gazan children into their violent, Jew-hating fanaticism. They will continue to train thousands of young people to do nothing more with their lives than to be child and civilian rapists, torturers, and murderers. They will continue to support often with the oil wealth of certain nations, thousands of people to not work, not study, and be nothing more than the trained soldiers in a Jew-hating, rape, kidnapping, torture, and murder organization. If Israel does not defeat Hamas and Islamic Jihad now, it will only be a matter of time before Hamas and Islamic Jihad again tortures, rapes, kidnaps, and kills. It will only be a matter of time before Hamas and Islamic Jihad bring again great suffering and death upon the people of Israel and Gaza. The civilians of Israel and Gaza do not deserve any of this.